it even better. Bam, we're live. My birthday happened and my wife walked in during the middle of the show and handed this to me and goes, "The people watching your show bought this for you."
Whoa. Cool.
And I wept like
Cool.
a little baby, Ben. I
How
wept
does
like a little
the
baby.
how does the like it's multicolored lights?
Yeah, so
Is it
basically it's a steel sign. It's like a piece of steel that I'm assuming with a laser was cut, and then behind it there's a LED lights that are stuck.
Yep.
And it even came with the remote where you can change the color and have it do all this fancy shit, but I just leave it there on all the time.
I love it. I'm
Cool,
copying.
right?
I'm getting. Yes.
Hey, dude,
Yes.
if seriously, it felt like uh I haven't earned a lot of things in my life. I by that I mean like I earned paychecks, but like my kid earned a gray belt. An
I don't know.
instructor walked up to go
Yeah.
ahead.
Where's Gray live in the life cycle?
Just right after white.
Yep.
Like just like so he went to jiu-jitsu for a year and they gave him a gray belt, and then I was like, afterwards the instructor walked up to him and goes, "No one can ever take that from you. You'll have that your whole life." And that hit me like a fucking ton of bricks. I was like, oh shit. Because we live in this world where everyone's like thinking they can choose their identity, or they talk to kids about identity or what do you want to be, or that my kid didn't have to do any of that. He earned something at 6 years old himself. No one can ever take from him. You get to keep that your whole life, not the belt per se, the physical belt, but it's crazy. And so I felt like in my life, when the viewers bought that for me and organized that through with my wife, I felt like I earned it.
Amazing.
You
Love
know what
it.
I mean? From my
Yeah.
peers and shit. It was
I don't
crazy.
even know how do they even like go about doing that? That's really cool.
Social media, Ben. We're all one big family.
Yeah, but how do they do that without you knowing about it?
Oh, to manipulate my wife. Get my wife. You know what else? They bought me an 80-pound dumbbell and that.
That's really cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was dope.
How often do you use the 80-pound dumbbell?
More often than I should. I want to work. I'm trying to work more often than I should. More often than I should. I want to I want to do a workout where it's strictly for ego reasons, like to show off for my Instagram. I want to do a strict muscle up 100-pound dumbbell workout, 100-pound dumbbell snatch workout with strict muscle ups.
Legit.
Because people just think I'm just like this fucking midget old man who
like
sits behind a desk.
Amanda with strict and 100-pound dumbbell. It'd be legit.
Yeah, way simple reps though. I'm thinking like 2 strict muscle ups, a dumbbell snatch in each hand, 10 rounds. But just kind of like a fuck you, look at me, look what I can do. But I got hurt using the 70-pound dumbbell. My
so that's very CrossFit. So if you get hurt with a 70, skip to 80 because it's the curse of there's certain weights that don't work. That is crazy. You see like athletes do that at competitions. They miss like they're progressing up in snatches. They go 250. They miss 260, so they go straight to 270 and hit it.
Yeah.
It's like, what?
I was lowering a 70 with my left hand, slow on purpose to try just to get, I don't know, more pump or more stimulus. I don't know what the fuck I was thinking. And something hurt right there. So my right arm has progressed to the 80, but my left arm is now back down to the 20. But anyway, I'm committed. It's totally doable. Good to have you.
Thanks, buddy.
Where are you sitting?
I'm sitting in my office. The gym is right there, Natick, Massachusetts.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
Do you have a workout that's kind of like your go-to workout that's like you're not proud of, but like in a pinch, like it's 11 o'clock at night and you haven't done anything yet, so you do it? Like for me, it's I'll do like 10 minutes on the assault bike, minimum 100 calories, and then like 12 leg lifts on the minute for 10 minutes. You know what I mean? Where I just lay on my back and hold a D-ball behind my head and lift my legs up, like just really up and down. So, and I'm like, all right. And I'm sweaty and I'm like, okay, go to bed.
Yeah, there's nothing I do at 11 o'clock. So no.
All right. Do you have anything you do that's just like,
I have so if I'm like traveling, traveling and I'm in a hotel gym, what I do is I run the dumbbell rack with different movements. So it's because you don't need any warm up. It's I literally start with, I just did this last week when I was traveling. I start with the 5-pound dumbbells, and I'll do like 5-pound double dumbbell front squats.
Okay. Yep.
I'll do 5 of those, and then I'll go to the 10-pound, 15, 20. I'll work my way all the way up to the 50s. And when I get to the 50s, or if there's 70s, whatever there is, then I'll do the same thing, but next it's with one arm presses.
Okay.
5, 10, 15, 20. So but my favorite kind of go-to, if I'm just like to jump in and do a workout, is 3 rounds of Cindy and a 400-meter run. And just loop through that as many times as you want.
Okay.
I feel like it gets everything. And you don't need I like the idea of like what you're doing with the assault bike, things you can jump into that you don't need a warm up, right? Like, and
you can kind of do basically brain dead and not hurt yourself.
Yeah.
Basically, I'm at 51. I'm just trying not to hurt myself.
51, Sevan. I did not know.
Yeah, crazy, right?
Whoa, looking good, man.
I shaved a little bit, or else I'd have looked 75.
This comes in gray, as you can see on the sides too. It's like I'm like reverse skunk.
Ben, this is the third time I think you've been on the show.
Sounds right.
On this particular show, and great podcast for those of you who didn't listen to them. Some of the things that I like Ben for, superficial as they may be, author of the book Chasing Excellence, first coach in the CrossFit space. He wasn't the first coach. Shut the fuck up. It's close enough if he was or if he wasn't. He's one of the first coaches. We'll get into that in a second. Coach of the only coach in the history of CrossFit space to have 2 champions in 1 year, 2 crazy dominant, skillful athletes, Matt Fraser and Katrin David's daughter. And when I was in the back, him and Matt O'Keefe, when I would film the behind the scenes every year at the games, we formed what I would think was a unique and pleasant and kind of charming, simple relationship. I would see them. It was always nice. We would I would congregate with them. That's where I would take my breaks. We would eat these. I would pass these out.
Yep. Dude, I remember. That's amazing. Except they were the green ones then.
Yes, the green ones. I don't have the green ones here. I apologize. And then you went on, and I knew your wife actually before you, because I went to I met her through the same thing. She was a top 10 CrossFit Games athlete. I went to the IMG Academy with her early on, went with a handful of other athletes, and I bonded with her there. Great lady, Heather. And then I also actually, ironically, or not ironically, but interestingly enough, I had the chance to work with one of your daughters every year, who just, every once in a while you meet a cool kid. Not a lot of them. And she was cool as shit. So I would get up at 5 a.m, meet at the hotel, and me and her and Nicole Christensen would jump in Dave's car and spend the next 15 hours together. And we did that, It's crazy. So cool. She was so cool.
Yeah. So it's Maya, and she's 23.
23.
And this will be her. She's been to 12 straight CrossFit Games at age 23 and worked for HQ for all of those.
What does she do now that Dave's
actually, I should say she did not work for HQ. She worked for HQ or for us in CompTrain.
What is she doing?
She worked for us now. So she does all logistics for the athletes, like rental cars, flights, hotel, setting up body work, getting meals, all that stuff.
Oh, I'm so sorry, Maya. Maya, I hear you. We were at the top, and now we're fucking. We were at the top, Maya.
It's
hanging with TDC.
So I've had a lot of nostalgia over the last little bit, and you started off with that, behind the scenes, literally the Sevan behind the scenes of those years of like 2012, 2016 ish. Those are pretty cool years, Sevan. It was we really, I felt like I was really a part of something really special that was growing. I wouldn't say exponentially, but certainly linearly every single year. And looking back on it, it was true. Like those were really amazing years. And, I've tried to piece together why they felt so special, and not to, give you any more accolades than you need. But a big part of that was what you were doing with that behind the scenes. We were, you think about what all the sports are doing now. I say all the sports, but golf with Full Swing, F1 with Drive to Survive, tennis with Point Break. They're giving all of the viewers access behind the scenes to insight into what happens in these athletes' lives in normal everyday, leading up to and at and during the biggest competitions. And you and HQ were doing that 10 years ago. They're all just starting to do it now. We were 10 years ahead of the curve. And that's a real, I think that's why it was so easy to feel like you were a part of something, even if you were kind of like tangentially a part of this thing. You're just like getting into it as a fan because you got access to these athletes like you would never get in other sports. And, for what it's worth, that doesn't exist anymore. But then we had Fittest Film, Road to the Games, and Sevan's Behind the Scenes. And that kind of like trifecta, you got engrossed into this because you got to meet the personalities.
What was the Fittest tour, Ben? I don't remember that. The Road to the Games was insane. That was Heber and Marsden and Mariah.
The Fittest Films.
What was that?
Like World's Fittest.
Okay. So they would do those documentaries.
The documentary,
like Dubai and yeah.
And it was really, that was an amazing time. And it was because of it was because of a lot of things, but the media was, I think, at the forefront of it.
Sorry. I know what you're talking about. We would do the yearly documentaries.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay. And then we had Road to the Games.
Correct.
And then we had the behind the scenes. Yeah. It was
that
bro.
Oh
my God.
Like that,
wow.
That access to the athletes in our sport, it was unprecedented then. I mean, the closest I can think that came up to it was like the Ultimate Fighter for UFC. But that was only one show, and we were putting out 3. That's pretty cool.
And I don't mean to dog on the UFC, but the Road to the Games was 1,000 times better than UFC's Embedded. Now I know they do Embedded 12 times a year, but Heber and Mars,
I don't know what that is.
They before every pay-per-view event, they have like a pay-per-view event every month, and then the week prior to the pay-per-view event, there's a 10-minute video that comes out every day.
Oh, got it.
Where you're like back there with them while they're trying to lose weight or FaceTiming with their kids, shit like that. Yeah. Hey, during that time, there were athletes who gave me and coaches that gave me more access than others. Nothing for nefarious reasons. I think it was strictly, I don't know what the reason why is actually, but there were people like Josh Bridges, Rich Froning, Katrin David's daughter, Annie Thor's daughter. There were just athletes, Benny Garrard, Travis Mayer, usually men. It was rare that the women would be as open as the men. Not that they were closed off, but they were wound a little bit tighter. The women, would you say that's true? The women are wound a little bit tighter at the event, generally speaking.
I would say generally speaking, yes.
But there were people like Katrin and Annie who were not wound, so they were more like kind of dudes. They could shoot the shit, crack jokes.
Yeah. I mean, competition's hard, and because competition's hard, it tugs on emotions. And I think that females in general, okay, blast me if you want to, but I think they're an emotional, more emotional than most of the guys are. And the guys probably deal with stress a little bit differently than women do. And that's probably why they get a little more closed off. But, like there's a reason that, I enjoyed coaching Katrin as much as I did because she wasn't that type of athlete as well.
I had never thought of this, but I've seen a lot of men start doing the weird yawning shit, or like Matt, go over to the bushes and start gagging. I never actually saw any women do that. They just go way in. They seem like they would go way inside, whereas the men would sort of express it more. Like, I mean, Josh would just start talking crazy shit.
Josh was entertaining.
Yeah, Rich would talk some crazy shit. Matt Fraser would start, like feel like he's gonna throw up. So yeah, maybe women internalize it and men it comes out. But did you ever see any women like going over to the bushes and gagging or having any kind of those outward manifestations? Maybe Sam Briggs talked. She got a little talkative, chatty Kathy.
Yeah, it's funny that when the guys feel stressed, they get chatty because I think that I'm the opposite of that. And the women, I think they manifest the emotions more. Like, I don't think you see as many guys crying between events, and that's not a rare thing for the female side at all. So I think it's just the way it comes about,
Someone in the comments wrote, Ben Bergeron's doing a media tour. I do. It does seem like he's been on a lot of shows. Ben did not contact me, by the way. I reached out to Ben, and Sousa reached out to Ben and asked him to come on the show. So it's not like he's, I don't know. It doesn't matter whether he is or isn't, but I just want to be clear. Wad Zombie, zero access to athletes now unless you run them down on the way to the athlete area. Ben, this was not how the show was supposed to start. You said in your interview with Talking Elite Fitness that you think CrossFit, I want to use your exact words because maybe we're on the same page, but I think we're not on the same page. You think it's the most stable it's ever been. And I think it's the least stable it's ever been.
Yeah, it's
so I was like, wow, that's a cool, I'm open to it being the most stable.
Okay,
and I'm open to having a proximity bias to things that would make me think that it's the least stable. But I'm so curious how and why we see it so differently, or what you use as a marker for thinking it's the most stable. I could be mischaracterizing what you're saying. I'm not quoting you. Maybe you didn't use the word stable.
If I used the word stable, that was probably misspoken.
Okay.
Because I don't believe it's most stable. I believe that they have as good of a foundation for the competitive season as they've ever had.
Okay. And you know what? You did say it has the best foundation it's had, and then you didn't say for the competitive season, but all the examples you gave were in regards to the competitive season. I want to say something to scratch your back here, and you said something so fascinating there that I'd never fucking heard before. When this year and last year, I don't know if it's the year before, but 10% of all the best open athletes individual go on to the quarterfinals.
Yep.
And you say something in that interview, I think it's with Tommy, or you say with Patrick Cummings, that maybe it is Patrick Cummings. You say, how fantastic is that? Because now we have 10% of the people. Now, these are my words. I'm twisting your words a little bit. Who think they're competitive.
No, that's my words.
Okay. Yeah. I thought you said who are competitive. I threw in think they're competitive, but that's fucking great. And you're like, who wouldn't want that? I'm like, yeah, that is great.
Yeah. So I actually think it's
great.
It's what they've done is they've exactly that. So this is why I think the foundation. So I'm happy to sit on this one for a little bit. I think that the competitive season is established. I don't think that everyone's talking about like they need to have the tour, like they should bring in Dubai and Wadapalooza. We should go on all this. We have the funnel. You have the Open, literally the biggest, as far as I know, biggest participatory events in the world. Then that boils down to a quarters, semis, and games. 4 stages. Like, I don't think we need a whole lot more than that. We could talk about it. But what they've done a phenomenal job of is, prior to this, there was only the people that were trying to get to semifinals that were, quote, competitive athletes, which is, I mean, you could throw all those people into my gym. Like, it's a tiny number. And what they've done with the quarterfinals is said top 10%. So everyone's striving for that. And if you make that, you're a competitive athlete. Like,
yeah.
And that's a cool thing to be able to identify as. But it's not only, it's not only the 10%. Because if you finished, and they've done this percentile, you get a percentile ranking now. You're in the 19th percentile. Those people are not going, oh, I'm not competitive. They're going, oh, next year. I'm on 19th percentile. I didn't realize I was even that close. Next year, I can make it to quarterfinals. And what they've done is they've given them a carrot.
Yeah.
We all want someone to chase.
Yeah.
It's like we all want that. It's the dopamine. It's the goal. We want that accolade. We want that that achievement, and we want to be able to take the next step up the competitive ladder. So what they've done for all these people is we've gone from a few hundred athletes to literally from a few hundred athletes that make the semifinals to not just 10% of 400,000, but 20% of 400,000. They went from a few hundred athletes to 80,000 athletes that identify as competitive.
Meaning the ones who made it inside the fence and then the ones who are clinging to the fence.
Exactly right.
Okay.
Yep. That's a big thing. Now, that's what I mean in terms of the foundation has probably never been as solid in terms of a season. In terms of the actual games,
the business is unraveling, I think. They're in trouble.
I believe. All right, so we just talked about this. From the first few years of the games were neat, interesting, fun, right? So, we can kind of call that like CrossFit Games 1.0. And I would say
it was a crazy party. It was meeting people that you saw their scores in the blog.
And I would say that would even carry through to the first year at the StubHub Center.
Sure, fair.
So 2010. When Reebok came in, we'll call it 11, 12, 13, like that's a big step up. Instead of the winner getting, a $500 gift card to Rogue, it's like this is something that these guys can live off of for a year. And I would call that 2.0. And 2.0 was dope to be a part of because it was you doing the media stuff. Every year, the soccer stadium is getting fuller. The tennis stadium is full.
And it was still gritty. There was awesome. Still like some fuck you thrown around.
Because it was still like you think you're the best, come and prove it here.
Yeah.
So that was a really cool, and I would say that was like 2012 to 2016 ish. That was again, I really believe a lot of that had to do with the media that was surrounding this thing and the interest. So I would call that CrossFit Games 2.0. I would say CrossFit Games 3.0 is Madison, and I would say that if we're in 3.5 or 4 right now, I don't know. I haven't seen much growth. I really haven't. I mean, from 2017 to today, and there's an asterisk in there with COVID because COVID messed things up, but we're past that now. I think it's been flatline at best and probably down. And, HQ.
There's a chance there might be half as many affiliates now, Ben, as there were in 2018.
Well, let's just stay on the games thing. Forget about the affiliates, but just on the game side of things.
Well, don't you think that's the fuel for it?
No, I don't.
Okay.
I don't. I think that this is a sport. So I don't think the NFL relies on Pop Warner. I just don't. I don't think the NFL relies on high school football. The NFL is the NFL. And they're going to get the freaks and the monsters. And as long as they're putting on a great broadcast, the big overweight dads sipping chugging the Bud Lights in the parking lot and going in and losing their minds. And that's going to be there. And I feel like it's the same thing with if CrossFit's relying on the affiliate model to support the games, I think that's totally misguided. Now, I think that they need to rely on the affiliate model to support CrossFit. That's like the business model is get people to get affiliated and take certifications. It used to be a three-headed. This is my take from the outside. The revenue streams were three legs of the stool. The affiliates paying the yearly affiliate licensing fee, getting people to take the seminars from level 1 to level 4 and all the SME specialty certs. And back then it was signing up for, the CrossFit Journal. And the Journal.
The games was revenue. It just wasn't profit. You could throw the games in there too. It generated a shitload of revenue, but just no profit.
Okay.
That was the problem. It was a wash, right? Bring in 30 million and throw out 30 million.
Yeah.
We disagree wholeheartedly on there. I don't think the NFL does exist without Pop Warner, but I don't want to turn this whole show into that. Yeah.
Why? Tell me about that. How?
I think if you made football so that it's the funnel. It's the funnel. It's a I don't want to say it's an organic funnel, but it's an organic funnel. The Pop Warner, the high school football, the college football, all of that is the same as our L1 training, affiliates, wanting to work out, the soccer moms going to the gym. I think that's what it is. And that's why I think events that miss that piece do so poorly. So I think that's why regionals did so well, because they really attracted the funnel.
No, I think regionals did so well because they were regionals.
Right.
No,
and that's one of the pieces that attracted them to the funnel, that they were regional.
Right. So meaning
so that all of Invictus could come. Yeah.
I could drive to that thing. So
yeah.
We're in Massachusetts. Regionals was in Albany, New York, a 2-hour drive. People could day trip it or overnight it. Right. Now our athletes go to Orlando. Nope. Like we had 4 people from our gym go down to Orlando. Right. Whereas before we had 4D.
And so I think everywhere in the United States, there's a huge Pop Warner program, there's a huge high school program, there's a huge college program, and that those people are interested in professional football because of that.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that
you think that people go there, but don't get me wrong. I don't want to poo-poo on the athleticism and the quarterbacks and all that. I love that.
The sport needs the sport. Of course, we need a funnel for athletes, but we don't need the sport for fans. Like how many football fans played high school in football? My wife Heather loves to watch. We don't miss a Patriots game. We watch every single minute of every single game. She's never put on pads before, so she's a fan even though she didn't play it. And that's what the NFL has done such a great job. Is they're not just looking for people that play the sport. We're never going to get there that way. We're never. If the goal is 100 million UFC.
I don't agree with you. I don't agree with you. I don't agree with you there, by the way. I don't think how we look. I don't agree with you there about maybe we never get there, by the way.
We can get there. We're not going to get there if we're relying on the people that are going to be our fans need to be doing this thing. We need to get the people outside of our sport, like golf is doing, like Formula One. Formula One exists.
Right.
Formula One
exists. No one's doing Formula One.
Right. Like,
right.
Exactly right. UFC.
But everyone does drive a car.
Fine. Everyone squats. Everyone presses things above their head.
Right.
So
I wish I could offer you one.
Can you smell my breath through this? Is that
no? I can't. I never offered it to you because I could smell your breath too. You guys were too tall. I never smell your breath. Hey, the 3 of the most sports that I thought were the most boring sports in the history of the world were golf, baseball, and tennis. And my kids play tennis, and I'm fascinated by tennis now.
Tennis is a cool game.
Yeah, I'll stop.
But tennis is doing the thing, right? They have Point Break. They're getting you behind the scenes. They're telling the story of the athletes. They're pumping media into this thing. So here's like that, back to that full circle. I think it's time because we've been flatlined for 7 years and probably trending down. I feel like CrossFit HQ has had the shot to do this thing. And it's not happening. I think that they should spin this thing off, license it out to a media company like IMG, or like when Dana White came in, he eventually turned the UFC into a media company. Like
they could just bring me back. Ben, they could bring me back, and I could change it in 3 years.
No, you're not enough. You're help, but you're not enough.
I could do it in 3 years. I could run the media department for 3 years and the whole thing would be fucking
Or
completely changed.
like what F1 has done. F1 sold to a media company and they create this Drive to Survive. Or like
I'm disgusted that you don't think I'm enough.
Live Golf just bought the PGA, and you sell this one of these massive sports funds that are pumping money into the growth of these sports. That understand also we might need, just like golf did, not a wholesale revamp, but we need to get some new ideas into how this thing is broadcast. Because watching regionals, watching a lot of the events is not exciting unless you know what they're actually doing because you do this thing.
Do you know who's in charge of media at CrossFit HQ? Do you know them? Do you know who it is?
I don't.
Like in your no.
Do you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
It is. I say this with zero respect, but all sincerity. It is the dumbest, most unqualified, incapable, worst visionary, angry, egomaniac simpletons I've ever known in my life. It is so, and it's beyond bad. I don't even know. I don't even know. I feel sorry for Dawn because I like Dawn.
Yeah.
It's bad. It's like seeing someone wetting their pants up on stage and they don't know it. It's extra sloppy. Congrats and good luck, Ben. Hey, but either way, the discussion that we're having needs to happen. I don't and the cool thing is that both of those, whatever the route is, both what you and I are suggesting could be done at the same time with no ill effects. The community can be supported internally more, and then it can be presented to the outside world better simultaneously.
Yeah, I'm not saying we need to support the affiliates as well. That needs to happen in a big way. I've yet to see it. I think that overseas they are getting a little more support. I talked to affiliate owners over there, and the model is set up a little bit better over there, I believe. But I would love to see. I think that's what HQ should be in place for, is to support the affiliates. That's what the model seems to be. Yeah.
CompTrain. Tell me what CompTrain is, please.
Yeah. CompTrain is a training platform for people that believe training hard is a necessary ingredient to be the best versions of themselves.
When yesterday I listened to 3 podcasts you were on, or 3 interviews you did in the last
doing research
the last week, and this is what one of my takeaways. You are, at first my takeaway is, he wants to build CompTrain into CrossFit 2.0, community, affiliates, programming, but I never saw where the competition was. And then as I started, walking around my house last night, I'm like, oh, that's why you're so excited about this 10%, because CompTrain isn't about starting CrossFit 2.0 necessarily, although it will be positioned to do that, poised to do that if something were to happen to CrossFit. What you're interested in doing is catering to the reason why you're putting Cole in charge of these few is because you want to pull out a bigger net and cater to these 20%, to these 80,000 people, right? And I think if I heard you right, it's not the people who do CrossFit 3 days a week, and it's not the elite CrossFitters. It's that swath in between.
That's exactly right.
Okay.
Yeah. Minus the CrossFit 2.0. I love CrossFit. I hope CrossFit thrive. I'm a CrossFit affiliate. I've been a disciple and supporter. You know this from day one. And it's been a long, long time. And the reason I want to speak critically about it is because I want to see the improvements. I want it to thrive. I want this thing to be something that I'm so proud to be a part of. And CompTrain can coexist with them for sure. It's the bigger pie. not who's getting what slice. But you're also correct in I want to create a platform that has the ability to speak to people in that, yes, we still want to help people get to and hopefully win the CrossFit Games. That doesn't go away. But we want to use this platform to help people, regardless of what your goals are, if it's to summit a 4,000 peak, if it's to do BJJ, if it's to be a better soccer dad, if it's to push off decrepitude and disease, if it's to have a six-pack, if it's to run a sub 8-minute mile, it's a platform that you can use to become the best physical version of yourself. And here's one of the ways we're doing that that's a little bit unique, that has not been done yet, is I'm a big believer that when people do things together, they go farther, they go faster. It's a reason that, armies march together in unison. They found that what a bad model, right? Like, you're just a sitting duck. You're like in formation, like just drop one, RPG and the whole thing goes. Why would you ever do that? Why would you not scatter and everyone get there together? Because they found that when they go together, they go farther and faster. If we train together, we will get results better. Sevan, if me and you are doing, and CrossFit figured this out on day one, like if we do the same workout of the day, that level of, call it what you want, camaraderie or competition, will make us go just a little bit harder, will give us a little bit more accountability, will give us a little bit more incentive to show up tomorrow.
I was working out yesterday in the garage, and in the middle of the workout, I had something I needed to write down for this podcast I was going to do with you. And if there was someone in the room, I would have never done that.
Exactly.
But since no one was watching, I stopped my workout.
So here's
and wrote it down.
So we have this twofold approach. So that's the first one. We need to start with that principle. If you go farther, together, farther, faster. Okay, from there.
With the presupposition that that's better, which I'm okay with.
Okay, from there, we have to have this understanding that people train in different environments. Some people are training in the garage like you are. Some people are training in affiliate like I am. 60% of our users train in their garage. So.
Oh, we use CompTrain users?
CompTrain, yep.
Okay.
So how do we get them to train together? Well, you have to create a platform. And the way to do that is if we get them in real life, awesome, we'll get there in a second. But we got to create a platform that they're doing the same workouts together. Cool. So we've done that. So every day, this is not revolutionary at all, but everyone's doing the same thing. But you might have, like you said, 30 minutes at 11 o'clock before you go to bed. I might have 2 hours that I've carved out in the morning. How do we get to do the same thing? Well, what we've done is, instead of, because you're doing Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and I'm trying to train to fight off, disease and be a great soccer dad, not that you're not doing that as well, we can do the same thing, because when you come into the platform, it asks you, how much time do you have to train today? And it's going to give you the most impactful training session that you have for the time that you have. And we're going to overlap that as much as possible, starting with the most impactful thing. And then from there, you go out towards the accessory work and the other tangential things that we can kind of like build into this thing. So now we have people training in different spots, doing the same thing based off of how much time they have available. And you could do 30 minutes today and 2 hours tomorrow, and the training's not going to bump and run into each other. Now what you have is people potentially doing this in their garages, but we have hundreds and hundreds of CompTrain affiliates, like CompTrain CrossFit gyms, CompTrain gyms that follow our programming. So you can find these gyms. It's really cool. You can find these gyms on our app. And now this person that's been doing this in their garage can go, oh my God, I didn't realize there was a CompTrain gym 9 miles from me. And vice versa. You have somebody in the affiliate following this that now has access to so much more of a platform than they would get just in their app. So we have in the app, you have a worldwide platform and a gym platform that you can toggle between the two. And and in this, so you can be like, hey, I'm just going to message board inside my affiliate. I'm going to check out the leaderboard inside my affiliate, but I also want to jump out and see how I rank in the worldwide leaderboard. I want to jump out and see Ben's Mindset Minute that he like every single day posts. I want to jump out and check out the university and learn more things that, what might help me make me a better athlete, a better person. So now you're part of something bigger than just the affiliate as well. So it's kind of this layered approach of, it starts with, we got to do these things together, but understanding people are doing this in different environments and giving the people this opportunity to overlap into a bigger community that speaks the same truths. And we don't speak the same truths as everybody, but we do believe certain things. And if you believe those things, this is a place for you.
And the reason why you are shifting positions is to dedicate more time to this vision, as opposed to being just locked in on a handful of athletes.
Yeah, I've spent the last 15 years in a full-time job working with 4 to 6 athletes at a time.
And on one end, you got Chris Spieler, Becca Voigt. I think Becca was maybe the first 10-time athlete. Michelle Letendre, and then in more modern times, you had Fraser, Katrin, Brooke Wells, Cole Sager.
Yep.
In your interview with Patrick Cummings says something to you like, CompTrain's been through a lot of changes in the last 15 years. And you stop him, and I think you switch to the word, not changes, it's an evolution. And there, you had a shitload of high profile athletes in the last, I don't know, I guess since the beginning. There wasn't anyone more high profile than Spieler, right? As that camp got really big, and then it seemed, and this just from this is from the outside, that there was a bit of an exodus, that it was Chandler, Miss Katrin, Amanda, even the head coach, Harry.
Yep, Harry.
I don't know if I said Chandler Smith, Amanda Barner. There seemed Sam Quant. There seemed like that there was a Brooke Wells. That there was just a lot of athletes who left. Is that hard? Well, a couple questions. Did something happen there? Did you guys change your vision? Was there a fight? Why do athletes shift? Was it not? Is it being mischaracterized to say that it was all of a sudden? And is that hard for you? Like, because once you get to the top, there's nowhere to go but down after you have Katrin and Fraser, if your metric is champions.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yep. Yeah. So I would say that, okay. Was it all of a sudden? No. Chris Spieler left. Chris Spieler retired.
Okay.
Becca left. Becca continued to compete. So it wasn't that this all of a sudden thing. I think it's the nature of.
I mean, the guys towards the end. I mean, like the Quant, Katrin, Chandler. There's this narrative that, oh shit, something went wrong over there.
Yeah, we did shift gears.
The company did.
The company did. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So it was mutual. Okay. There was less of a place for them. Maybe, or it wasn't as elite athlete centric.
No, it was still elite athlete centric, and I think that we did a pretty darn good job, even like in.
And you did. I don't mean to poo-poo it.
Yeah, no. But I like 2 games ago we had 2 silver place finishes.
And who were those?
Katrin and Sam.
Right.
Awesome. So but I don't want to beat around the bush. So here, let's talk. Like, we had a really nice trajectory, a really nice run where we were lead dog, and we were in what I would call a blue ocean, meaning we could kind of like play around and do what we wanted to do, and there wasn't a lot of competition. That's the nature of the reality of the situation. I say that there wasn't a lot, but there was, and people just don't remember this. Even when I'm getting a lot of credit for starting the first camps. I don't think that's I was one of the first, but back in the day, it was Comp Train, OPEX, and Rudy's thing. What was his? Outlaw. Right. So those were the original ones. Comp Train just happened to outlast those guys in this space a little bit. But then it became Comp Train, Invictus, and NorCal. And those were like the things. And then NorCal and I don't want to say Invictus didn't, but Invictus put more effort into team stuff. I'll just say that. But CJ's still doing a great job. NorCal went into the affiliate side of things. And then it became more then, they kind of went away and it became more like Comp Train, Brute, and probably.
And Mayhem was always there.
I was going to say Mayhem. This was when Mayhem started to come about. Was when, Rich was kind of like towards the end of his individual career and starting the team thing. Mayhem started to pop up. Then it became Mayhem stuck around. Brute is still in the game, but the bigger ones became, HWPO, Proven, those type of things. So,
and those two are so new that we don't even know if they're going to be flash in the pan.
So we just don't know. So right. I'm not saying that they will be. I think Matt's putting a lot of energy and effort into this. I think that he's doing a phenomenal job. Shane is a great games coach. I don't think Tia would be where she is today without Shane. So I think that I don't think that they'll be flashes in the pan. What I want to, what we tried to do was
one bad tweet, Ben, and they're gone. One bad tweet. Post.
What my vision was, because I saw where the sport was going, and this is 2019-ish, just before we had 2 silver place finishes, was let's go really deep into these individual athletes. Let's really do this thing. So instead of doing this with just Katrin here, we invited these athletes to move here. To help support the athletes through the move, we tried to help them. We gave them monthly stipends to help with pay. And to do that, we took on some money and we went and we hired a CEO to help try to create an academy. And we really tried to make this thing really, really professional. When we did that, we lost our way a little bit. We lost the ethos of what we had been from day one. And we became a little bit corporate and we became a little bit bottom line centric. When you're in the midst of it, you don't see it in real time. It takes some hindsight and perspective to realize where you are and what you're doing. And the sport also didn't grow in line with the vision and the plan that we had. So I thought right before COVID, I was like, this thing's going. Like we were on this upward trajectory. Bigger brands were coming to the space, Monster and all this other stuff. And we were just early and the sport flatlined and we couldn't get as we were spinning to more like this growth. It wasn't us and we couldn't support the athletes the way that we wanted to. So there's a misalignment of expectations and reality. And that's never a positive thing. And athletes left because it wasn't this academy thing that we were hoping to build. And I was getting torn between being a full-time coach and trying to get the business to be where the business needs to be to support an academy type situation. And this is why I've spun back into what is the best way we can do to move this thing forward the right way. And it's to find a blue ocean, which I think that we are doing a really good job in putting the right people in the right spots. And it's Cole taking over elite coaching. And it's me going back to turning the Comp Train business into what I believe it can and should be.
Thank you for sharing all that. Would you even use the word there was a cultural change during that hiccup?
100%.
Did this process wound you?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it wounded you.
Yeah. Yeah.
The way you described it sounded like it wounded you.
Yeah. I want to be
like you got hurt. So,
I want to build something awesome.
Yeah.
I want to build something amazing. That's my like dream. That's my litmus test. Like, am I proud of this thing? And when we went into growth mode, which was intentional and was a conscious decision, it was like, I had the conversation with Harry, the business partner. It was like, hey, do we want to keep this lifestyle business, which is awesome and amazing? And we both knew it at the time. And we sat down. I can remember the lunch that we had. We had this amazing.
Harry's the coach guy. Harry's the coach, right? Okay.
And he's the guy that helped me build this thing. And we had this conversation of, do we want to continue to do this as a lifestyle thing? Or do we want to moonshot this and go? And we were like, I was like, we both decided we've built an amazing lifestyle business. Let's see if we can do this thing, because it's a challenge and we love challenges. So we went for it, and we hired a CEO, a CMO, a CFO, a head of business development. We hired the entire C-suite. We went from 6 employees to 19.
Wow.
In 6 months. And that's when things shifted. And today we're back to 6 employees. We have contractors.
That must be a crazy.
We're back to 6.
Are you ever going to tell that whole story in detail?
I feel like I'm doing it now, but like, I guess there's a lot of stuff between the lines.
You are doing it. Was it hard wrestling it back?
Did you say wrestling it?
Wrestling, yeah. I've always wanted to say it like that, like instead of wrestling.
Yeah, it's super hard. Yeah, it's crazy. Like, the hardest.
But you did get it back. Did you almost lose Comp Train?
Yep, probably. Yep.
Fuck, dude. Are you out the other side?
I don't think if you're running a business the right way, I don't think you should ever feel like you're out the other side. It's kind of like right. It's okay. Like in 2017 was CrossFit out the other side. I think everyone would have gone, yup, look like yup.
Right.
You know, like Noble out the other side. Everyone go, yup, just laid off 30%, right?
Yeah.
Like, I don't think, and it's the same thing if you're an athlete. Should you ever go like, okay, we're there, we made it? Like, Matt does that for 1 year and he's not the champion, a gazillion years in a row. So, are we out the other side? No, I'm going to say no. And I hope that I never say yes.
Okay. Fair enough. Wow. That's a fucking journey you've had. Hey, were you able, that sounds really like you had a really stressful 2 years.
Yeah. And that's the difference to me, that's one of the big differences between lifestyle and growth. And I'm a guy that wants to be, my highest measure of success is on my deathbed, looking back, going, did I do everything the right way? Put my efforts, energy into the right things. And, in order to do that, you have to live a life in line with your values and principles. And my values and principles is build awesome teams, build awesome individuals, build an awesome community. And during that time, I think we moved away from that a little bit. So that was stressful. Yeah. So that was stressful.
Your story stressed me out. I'm not gonna lie to you. Your story fucking stressed me out.
But I'm so like, yeah.
There's this saying, once you hear someone,
how exciting am I for this next evolution, this next thing? Because I couldn't believe, I couldn't imagine a more aligned brand, product, and community for what we're driving and striving to create right now. I don't know how else I can envision creating something that's exactly what I want to create.
Is it going back? Is part of it going back to your? Well, you're not going back to your roots. Are you going back to your roots?
Yes, it's going back to roots.
It is going back to roots.
Yeah. I mean, we went from 6 people to 19 and we're back to 6.
Yeah.
We went from like, let's build an awesome team. Let's build an awesome community. Let's make people feel incredibly valued and special when they come into this little tribe, this little network. That's 100% what we're trying to do again.
This is going back a little bit. Anthony TPA, has any athlete competed at the CrossFit Games that didn't start at an affiliate? You have to play ball at a small age to become elite in the pros.
And Matt Fraser.
He didn't start at an affiliate?
He trained in the back room of an affiliate.
Jason Watkins, I disagree with Ben about a lot. He's hitting some cold, hard facts today. Oh, that's so sweet. That's so sweet. Ben is still full of himself. I love it. I've sensed none of him being full of himself. What are you doing? What are you doing? Don't do that. He's David Weed, Sevan is like your bitter ex-girlfriend. I want to validate. I want to say that there's some there, but I'm not. I don't see it. I fell so far behind in the comments because I like to put the people who pay. I like to pull up their shit. So now I'm like scrolling down. Okay, here we go. Eaton Beaver, Sevan. Any CrossFit coach knows how you train based off how fast you fall apart in burpees with Sevan. Oh, okay. This guy is saying, Sevan, any CrossFit coach knows how you train based how fast you fell apart in the burpees with Hiller. Listen, asshole. I had been drinking all day. Make myself vulnerable, and you tell me I have fucking world-class burpees. Did 50 in 2 minutes last year. Go check my Instagram. Ding dong. That's the only thing I'm good at. It's like telling me I'm fucking ugly when the only thing I have is my looks. Okay, here we go. Alyssa, guys, Sevan, quit looking at comments and get back to the interview. This is the interview. This is like the fun part. Everyone just gets to take a deep breath. I scheduled another guest for 3 minutes. I haven't fucking heard from him. Ben, you're excited? You're invigorated?
I'm excited and invigorated.
Why? And you went public with this, with the Cole Sager announcement as head of training the elite athletes. Was any party like, hey, let's just do it quietly, let's not announce it?
Yeah. There's always that idea, but I think it's always nice to align expectations. So I think it'd be strange if all of a sudden Ben wasn't showing up to events with his competitive athletes. That would seem weird. So why not just like let everyone know? Then
ding dongs on YouTube will start speculating they'll start saying you have AIDS or something.
Jesus.
I'm excited for you. I've always appreciated your transparency. I think I've always thought your heart was in the right place. I'm stoked for you. You said something in one of the interviews, I think it was with Talking Elite Fitness or Patrick, where you said relationships are really important to you. And that's cool. I think that's a good moral compass to keep people, as long as you can maintain your integrity. By no means am I saying that you ever didn't do that, but your buddy Matt O'Keefe's good at that too.
Yep.
I've rubbed up against him in the wrong way a few times, and I could tell he values relationships. He's not willing to just burn relationships because someone, accidentally peed on his campfire. So anyway, thanks for being you, and I hope to have you on again. I'm excited for you, and let me know if there's anything I can do for you. You're killing it, dude. Yeah, you're a staple in the community, and anyone who doesn't see that the importance of having oak trees like you just continuing to just fucking dig roots in deeper is missing your value. You're vital. It's a bunch of oak trees like that that's kind of keeping the hill from sliding into the ocean.
Beautiful analogy. Thank you, Sevan.
Thank you. All right, brother. Please say hi to your wife. Say hi to your daughter, and I'll talk to you soon.
Cool. Appreciate it. Thanks, man.
Okay, bye. I could have had him on for 2 more hours. I mean, I don't know if he would have stayed. I'd have loved to have had him on for 2 more hours. Ben Bergeron. Wow. I fucking love him. I like him. I like, oh, look. Holy shit. There he is.
Oh, how are you?
Will.
Yeah.
What's up, buddy?
Good to see you.
Good. I was preparing for a no-show.
Mm-hmm.
It has nothing to do with who you are.
Okay.
It's just in my own head, my own short man insecurities, my own insecurities.
No, I was trying to get my my better camera working, but it's not. So
the Mas Bueno camera?
Yeah. So, but the one on my computer seems pretty good.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to introduce you to William
Reusch.
Thank you.
Yeah.
But look, we're already simpatico. We're already working together. Will Reusch has some serious issues like myself. He wants to be open, and yet he keeps he's just tripping balls on what the Democrats are doing. He wants to be open. He wants to be so fucking bad. He wants to be. His interviews are like all the people that I dream to interview. An affinity for black women, tons of black women guests.
That's true.
Fucking A. I mean, really, for some reason, I don't know why, some of the most powerful creatures on the planet happen to be women, vaginas with melanated skin, like this lady. What was this lady's name?
Megan McGlover?
Yeah.
She's dope.
What a beast. Powerhouse.
Yeah.
Cool. Lesbian woman accused of being a homophobe. Where does she show up on Mr. Williams' podcast? Hot wife. You got a hot, like Puerto Rican wife.
It's Filipino. Yeah.
And you're kind of a dorky white dude. So like you check that box. You got this cool lady, cool as shit, talking to her about what it's like being a melanated vagina that's conservative. Britt Caldwell.
Yeah. Brittany Caldwell. Yeah. She's a fellow teacher. Yeah.
Oh, she is?
Mm-hmm.
At a public school?
Yeah, it's public school in Atlanta, but she left last year. But yeah, she was.
Of course she did. A 3-year national average for public school teachers. What a shame.
Yeah.
Okay, so here you had someone on. We'll dig into this lady. This was I had problems with her.
Bronte Rebzik.
Oh my God. How did you get hurt? There comes a point where I like you and it starts swerving over into like jealousy. I'm like, William.
Oh, Africa Brooke.
How are you getting these people on your show? And the list goes on and on. He got a picture in here with Jordan Peterson just swinging his dick around. Yeah, you are absolutely killing it. Okay, now that we've established that, let's go back a little bit.
Okay.
Where were you born?
Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, like Eastern Pennsylvania.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you have kids?
I do. I have 3 sons. Yeah.
No shit. Me too.
Yeah. What? How old?
We really are alike.
Mm-hmm.
Oh shit. Wow. The 2 6-year-olds and an 8-year-old.
Oh my gosh. I have an 8 and a 6 and then a 1.
Holy cow.
Yeah. You see, I just didn't have the twins, but yeah, I have an 8 and a 6 too.
Oh my goodness. I had no idea. What a shitty researcher. And were you married, but are they all with the same girl?
Yeah. Yeah.
Congratulations.
Very traditional. Yeah.
And were you married before you had kids?
We were, yeah.
Wow, I didn't do that. I got her pregnant first. And I'm glad I'm married. Are you glad you're married?
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, we got a good thing going so far.
Yeah, I'm crazy glad I'm married. I didn't think I would enjoy it. And your parents are your parents first generation? Are your parents immigrants?
No, we're like way back. Like pre-revolution. Like super American. Yeah.
Are they still together?
Yeah, they're still together. They broke up for a couple of years because they're crazy, but then they got back together. Yeah.
Oh, congratulations. And do you have siblings?
I do. I have one older sister. She's 2 years older than me. Lives in.
Me too. Me too.
Really?
Me too. Older sister, 2 years older.
Ah.
I'm 51. How old are you?
40.
40. Oh, so you had kids kind of young.
Yeah.
Either that or I had them old, and I'm not willing to say that. So you're gonna have to take that one.
How old's your wife?
My wife I'm 51, and she's 3 years younger than me.
Oh, okay, 3 years. That's not too bad.
That makes her 48 or 49.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I had my first kid when I was 43, and she was 39.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we CrossFit, like we can make kids till we're 70.
Yeah. I think that's been a little bit debunked. Like the idea of like 40, you need to stop. I don't think that's true. I don't know if that was ever really a thing, but for women,
Some people just shouldn't have kids. By the way, if you're not sure, send me a picture of you and your wife working out together, and I'll tell you if you should have kids.
Let's keep those genes going.
Quiet, David. I'm glad I'm not married. Shut up. Just quiet. No one asked you. You had them old, Sevi. Stop. I did not. And you were raised a Democrat. Your teacher. I'm going to guess your parents were teachers.
No, my parents weren't teachers, but they were Democrats. Yeah, I was raised a Democrat. I mean, when you're young, I think especially I teach politics. I think it's just like, well, I want to be a good person, and the good people are the ones on the left. So I'll lean there. I think
that's what I was taught too.
It's the message. Yeah.
And what did your parents do? What were their vocations?
My mom was a social worker, so she worked like in foster care, like helping them get homes. And then my dad was like a human resources guy for a big hospital company.
So, and you knew from a young age you were a Democrat, like when they would do like the mock elections at school, and they would be like, are you voting for?
Yeah, I don't think I honestly don't think I thought about it much. I think I was just like, I didn't give politics a second thought. I had no interest in it when I was like 16, 17. Like I don't give a shit who's running for president. I was worried about like getting a pimple or like getting a cute girl to look at me.
Right. Me too. God,
yeah.
we're exactly alike. Yeah. Did I have a full tank of gas, and what's this pimple doing?
Yeah. Like politics is not really, I didn't see it relating to my life in any way. Like if this guy got into presidency, is my life going to get better or worse? Like I didn't connect any of those dots.
Are you still a school teacher?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And so you're able to have that Instagram account and are you a school teacher you're at a private school?
I'm at a private school now. That's the trick. Not just that, I'm at a religious private school that is really open. They already have an ideology. So when I push back on especially like woke stuff, letters come out to the school. They find out where I teach, and they send letters or emails or whatever. And then my school just like crumbles them up and throws them away. I'm very, very lucky. That's part of why I'm doing what I'm doing, is because I have a big network of teachers that can't speak out about the craziness. So like I do it because I can. Because I don't know, there's not many teaching positions that can do what I do and talk about the things that I talk about, trans issues and stuff like that. Like asking questions about the trans issues, like you're not allowed to do that at most schools, even private schools, especially like the elite. I'm in LA, so like the elite West Side, like private schools, no way, you get fired.
Dude, you're in the fucking hive. LA is the hive.
100%
of woke and insanity.
Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing. And it's are you Jewish?
No, no.
But you teach at a Jew school.
Teach at a modern Orthodox Jewish school. Yeah.
My 3 boys are Jewish.
Okay.
So I teach 3 Jews, but it's not. But they're homeschooled. So I guess I'm a teacher like you too. I teach Jews. You teach Jews.
Yeah. Yeah.
Are there any non-Jews who go there?
Nope, not allowed.
No, they're not allowed.
No, it's pretty strict.
Racist. That sucks. So you're telling me if I'm a fucking Armenian, but I don't want my kids going to the woke fucking public school, I can't send them to the Jew Academy?
If they're Jewish, if they, either if their mom's Jewish, you know how it works, like if their mom's Jewish or they whatever it is, converted, but that seems like a huge pain in the butt to convert. So yeah, no. I mean, it's part of it is so they're trying to keep it, they're trying to keep it within the tribe.
Pure.
So, they don't want their kid bringing home a Maria or a Christopher. You know what I mean? Like they want bring home a Maya. Zev.
But kudos to that school, man. We need and kudos to you for keep going. this is a little personal. Are you independently wealthy?
No. But my wife is like an entrepreneur.
Okay.
She makes the bulk of like our household income because of
okay. Because but by no means am I Bill Gates, but if I didn't have the resources I have, I couldn't sit on this little ledge and throw rocks at the idiots. I feel like because I have kids, I feel like I have some sort of obligation with the resources I have to stand on this ledge with a bow and arrow and fucking shoot down the bad shit. And if I didn't, like, even though it seems inconsequential, I just fucking have to do it. Someone has to do it. And so that's what I'm hearing what you do. You, for some reason, have a big enough set of balls, which maybe just means a little cushion of money, which is your wife being an entrepreneur, that you have 3 kids. Does that resonate with you, that you kind of have a moral obligation to, like, okay, is it okay? You have to ask the tough questions.
Yeah.
Is it okay to generally mutilate a 12-year-old boy? When
100%. I'd say it's those 2 things. The fact that I'm at a modern Orthodox Jewish school that is all about just like questions and education, and they already have an ideology. And then the fact that my wife, makes a good living, and she's a hustler. She's like, a sharp businesswoman in the beauty industry. So those 2 things, absolutely. If it wasn't in that situation, I couldn't take the risk that I do. 100%.
I'm always confused about the Jews, because the Jews I was raised with, they're all fucking like psychologists. They're crazy woke. And I'm in California also. And yet, as I study more and more about Jewish culture, like recently, I just learned that FDR, the great Democrat president who built internment camps and fucking circled up all the Japanese and took all their shit. I just learned that he fucking wouldn't make exemptions for Jews at Ellis Island who were fleeing fucking Germany in World War II, that he wouldn't fucking open up. And it's like, dude, are you out of your fucking mind? Yeah.
They like turned away boats. Boats like came into Florida, and they were just like, nope, head back. Head back. For what?
So I'm confused. Do you have any idea why are so many Jews Democrats? Where did they lose their way? One side of my whole family is Jew Democrats.
I mean, I looked this up a while ago. I forget exactly what it is. Probably something along the lines of like a progressive kind of thing for when there was hardcore anti-Semitism, and like, you're not allowed to come to these country clubs, or we're not allowed to buy a house in these communities and stuff like that they aligned a lot with the civil rights movement. Like, if you look at like Martin Luther King when he was marching in Washington and stuff, there are a lot of like rabbis with him and stuff like that. So I think that the Jewish population aligned themselves with the civil rights movement. And then when the civil rights acts were passed in like 1964 by Johnson, there was that classic quote of like, I'll have these guys voting Democrat for the next 200 years or whatever Johnson said. So I think that there's an alignment with this. I think it's in the Black community too. It's like, well, this is the party that gave us our civil rights, so we're going to stay loyal to them.
Wow. Even though it wasn't.
Yeah. Well, Johnson did it. I mean, but his reasons.
Well, but the Democrats more Democrats voted against it than Republicans voted against it.
His Civil Rights Act?
Yeah. Including Al Gore's dad voted against it.
Yeah. It's like still like the good old boy Democrats.
Hey, so was there a time when you kind of woke up? Is there a moment where you were like, uh-oh, I'm not thinking clearly on this?
100%. Yeah, it was when I married. It was when I married my wife. So she's from the Philippines, born in the Philippines, came here, and it's a family of entrepreneurs. Like, they live 10 people in a 1-bedroom apartment, like that kind of story. Just like hustled, and they were conservative politically because of that. But they were also super generous. So they like opened their house up to anyone who was like trying to get by and all that kind of stuff. And it kind of threw a wrench into my whole idea about what, I thought conservatives were like the greedy ones. I thought they were the ones who did. And then I looked at like my more liberal friends, and I was like, wow, they don't really contribute much at all to like homeless people, or they don't open their house at all to immigrants. So I was like, oh, maybe it's not what I thought it was.
And that was the start?
That was the start. Yeah. And then it was right around the same time that I started listening to like the Joe Rogan podcast because I had a long commute. And he brought on all these like the intellectual dark web people like Eric Weinstein and Jordan Peterson and people like that were kind of questioning, you know, the way that this woke ideology and the way that things were kind of set up. And I was like, oh, okay, yeah, I'm a little off on this. It opened me up for sure.
What year was that?
2015, something like that. I mean, I got married in 2012, but
but the Joe Rogan stuff, because when I would listen to Joe, he was woke as shit. And then all of a sudden, I didn't listen to him a lot. Let me recharacterize that. When I would see clips of his, or when I would read headlines, like he supported Bernie Sanders and things like that, and in the guests he would have on, or in the beginning of the so-called pandemic, he just seemed woke to me. Like, wow, this guy's not gonna go out on a limb. And then all of a sudden, as him, Bill Maher, and what's the guy's name who
Dave Rubin.
Rubin's. I didn't see Rubin make the switch. The comedian from the UK. He's huge on Instagram.
Russell Brand.
I saw those three guys flip the script, and I was like, holy shit. Rogan, Brand, and Bill Maher are like waking up.
Yeah. I don't know if it's like waking up to like, oh, the Republicans are the right way, but I think waking up to like the way that the whole system of like elitists and corporate greed and influencing government and stuff, how that all works. You know, the WEF stuff.
You talk about not wanting to be in an echo chamber, and it's funny because my listeners and I are all kind of in an echo chamber because we can tell because we're all in the same algorithm, right? Instagram's got us all fucking pegged, and we're all kind of swimming together, and that does concern me. But for me, it's like starting to ask what the definition of words meant, and I learned that from Greg Glassman 15 years ago, the founder of CrossFit. People still today will do CrossFit forever and not realize what Greg really did is he just defined fitness. He gave it a scientific definition, and it exploded from there. And people can't even fathom that. And so for me, it was I started. So I was homeless for 5 years, and when people talk about the homeless crisis in the United States, it's not a homeless crisis. Homeless has the insinuation that those people chose that, and in the 5 years that I was homeless, it was only me and one other guy of the thousands of homeless people I met that weren't drug addicts. That basically it's a mischaracterization. They're all drug addicts, and someone can say no, they're not. Well, the vast majority, 99%, are drug addicts, and they've chosen the hierarchy of drugs over shelter. The same way, you know what I mean? And so if to build them shelter would be a huge disaster, would exacerbate the problem. That is not they don't need to go indoors. They need to recalibrate their hierarchy. They've even put drugs before food, right?
100%. Yeah.
And so that's how I kind of woke up, and that's how I feel that I just started looking into not accepting, like the newest thing, Will, is they're saying that there's 600 laws passed in the last 2 years that are anti-trans. And if you look at anytime I turn on CNN, that's what it's saying. But anytime I look at the laws are like against allowing 12-year-olds to chop their penises off. And I'm like, how is that being thrown? Like I actually haven't seen one that's anti-trans. They're almost all child protection. And so it's just how you spin words. The whole thing's become a word game.
Yeah, and like the perspective that you have, going into that. Yeah, I mean, homelessness, it's one of those things where like, I agree with you, that's a choice, but it's also like these people are sick. I mean, if you're a drug addict, the correlation between there's a great book, Chasing the Scream, Johann Hari book. I don't know if you read it, but like
Chasing the Scream.
Chasing the Scream. It's just about like the war on drugs and stuff. I'm very much against the war on drugs personally.
Mm-hmm.
Like I just I don't think it's good. But a lot of these people, they have like extreme childhood trauma and they've never processed it for whatever reason. They never had therapy, they never had whatever it is. So like I think if you look at these addicts on the street, is they're sick, then they need some sort of support to get them off. I don't know if they can just like make that decision. I think that they're broken in a lot of ways. Yeah, that book. Yeah. It's really good.
And tell me the first and last days of the war on drugs. I was thinking this, Will, the other day, that if I was I don't know if you've ever been addicted to anything, but I was addicted to nicotine, right? And I'll always crave nicotine. But if I was addicted to heroin, I would not want a clean needle exchange program. I would want to be arrested. Because I would want to be thrown into jail for like a week or a holding cell for 2 weeks to try to give me, because to quit smoking, you got to try like 100 times.
Yeah.
Like I never hear anyone who's like, I quit and I'm done.
Forced into it.
Yeah. So you kind of need a reprieve, right? Like you need, like to quit smoking, you need to cough up blood one time, or like to quit heroin, you kind of need to, and it just seems like the entire machine is. You think if they just legalized all drugs, the problem would get better? I mean, they legalized pot and marijuana in California, and the shit got worse.
Yeah, I think that it would get better for some things, like as far as like fentanyl overdoses and stuff. I think that would improve, because that's
that would be great.
Drugs. So
right.
If you know that the drugs at least you're getting, you can dose it out properly. I think it has to be that, and then the money that we're flooding into, supporting these anti-drug or these drug laws and stuff like that, and going out and enforcing it. I think that could go towards better treatment centers for people who are sick. But I'm worried about getting drugs that aren't what you think they are. And that's how the overdose rates are so high, 70,000 or whatever, is 80,000 people. Because, essentially if you're drinking a beer and sometimes it's 3.5% and then sometimes it's the same percent as vodka, then you're screwed, because you're like, I have 3 beers. I know what I feel like on 3 beers. But then you have 3 beers and one of those beers is vodka and you can't taste the difference. Then you're dead. And that's what's happening with a lot. Like kids, like teenagers are getting like street Xanax and stuff and then dying from fentanyl. And I think that kind of stuff is a big concern for me.
The 5 people that are 1 degree of separation from me have all died from fentanyl overdose, and none of them were doing fentanyl.
Yeah, there you go. So like, why is that? The way I explain it to my class is like, if you're going to have a couple of friends over to drink in your bedroom and you got to walk through the living room where your parents are, you're not going to bring a case of beer clanging around. You're going to bring 1 bottle of vodka and smuggle it. Well, that's what fentanyl is. It's like so potent. So you can just send an envelope from China and have an envelope, and then you can cut it in with all the heroin and stuff like that, as opposed to shipping a big crate of heroin. It's a lot more potent. And that's what happened during like Prohibition too, is they, started making moonshine, which was really potent, instead of beer was like the popular thing before that. So it's just like, all right, it's going to be illegal. We got to do it on the down low. We got to make it really, really compact and therefore up the potency. And that's a concern with how many people are accidentally dying. That's terrible.
Oh, it's terrible. I had a guy on who made a documentary about it. I'll send it to you. It's beautifully done. Unfortunately, I cried for 50 minutes, but as a parent, I think you'll really appreciate it. It's told from the perspective of parents who lost their kids. Jay Hartle, jail and being away from his kids got my brother to clean up from heroin.
Yeah. That's rock bottom, right? If you're in jail, that's as bad as rock bottom as you can get.
Have you ever hit rock bottom?
Yeah. Medically, I was really, really sick in my early 20s. So that would say it was
from what?
Something called intracranial hypertension. It's really rare. Basically, my brain makes too much spinal fluid, so I was getting really strong headaches and backaches for 2 years. They didn't know what it was. I had a bunch of surgeries, and I had to spend just weeks on end in the hospital as they were cutting me open and figuring out what was wrong and stuff like that. So that's for me. That was, but that was the catalyst for a lot of positive changes. So it's kind of the way it works. And
it was so bad that basically you wanted to die. That was rock bottom. You're like, I'm tapping. I'm done. I can't take this anymore.
Yeah, it was really, really dark. Yeah.
Had you met your wife at that point?
Nope. No, I just moved out to California. I was like 24 years old. So I was like a young guy. So I didn't have as much. Like now it's different. In 2018, I actually also had a stroke in 2018 from excessive dehydration, they think. But that was different, because at that point I had 2 kids and a wife, and I was like, I can't die. I got important shit that's around, people counting on me. I had no desire, as much pain as I was in, as hard as it was being in the hospital. I was like, I got to get out of here, because I have stuff that's really important to do. Where when I was in my early 20s, it was just easier somewhat to give up, and I didn't. But yeah, I'd say my rock bottom.
Tell me about your stroke. Where were you? What happened?
It was weird. It's venous sinus thrombosis. So basically, I was working out a lot. I do jiu-jitsu and stuff.
Where do you do jiu-jitsu?
Jean-Jacques Machado. It's he's like an old Mr. Miyagi type who's super good. But
in LA
in Woodland Hills, yeah. But I was doing jiu-jitsu at a different gym at that point, but like, and I was working out and everything like that. And I wasn't drinking water. Then I went on this like carnivore diet. Like I was on a ketogenic diet and then a carnivore diet. So I got rid of a lot of the vegetables, which are filled with water. And in the morning, my pee would be like really dark. And I was like, what's the worst that could happen? I was drinking a lot of coffee. Just, it wasn't very smart. Lots of coffee, not a lot of water, excessive working out. They think that my blood just got really like thick, like coagulated. And then I got a clot in one of the drainage, like the way that your blood kind of works is just like it's like piping, like plumbing. And one of the drainage from my brain clogged. So it kind of had a backup, like you get a clog in your sink, back up, and then all the blood vessels in my brain started to pop. And I was getting like a really bad headache. It was over the course of like 2 days, got a really bad headache, and I started hallucinating. And my wife was like, "You got to go to the hospital." I was like, "Nah, I'm fine. Let me just take some NyQuil and sleep it off." And that's like why you live longer when you have a wife. She's like, "No, you got to get in the car with." She like dragged me to the hospital. They took a scan. They said I had a stroke. They rushed me to the ICU, gave me a bunch of like blood thinners, and then it kind of broke up to some degree. And then the blood just like started rerouting in my brain. It was gnarly, but.
Did a piece of your brain die?
No, I was really, really lucky, man. It was just a wake up call to pay attention to the small stuff. Like I was like looking at like micronutrients and like I was looking at like my supplements and stuff like that and not drinking water. So now I drink a ton of water. Doctors think that I have like just an excessive like water need. Like I have to drink at least a gallon a day. I'm just like,
Are you still carnivore?
No, I'm low carb. But like, no, I'm not, I can't do that again. Unless I drink a lot of water and can't drink any coffee. Then maybe I could do it.
Crazy. And in that, how did they make it so your body produces less the intracranial hypertension that was caused by the cranial fluid? How did they make your body produce less of that?
Yeah, they put a shunt in. So I have like a pipe, like a little tube from my spinal column, like my spinal like cord, whatever, the cerebral spinal sac, and then it just dumps off into like my perennial cavity, like inside my body, and then I pee extra. But yeah, they put a little valve in there. What's hardware?
Yeah, so kind of like drain it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Had they ever done that before?
Yeah. I think it's like didn't seem that uncommon just to have like just a shunt, like a release valve. It just pours into my body cavity, and then my body absorbs it.
Hey, is it literally like this? Like you have like a cup of like cranial fluid, and then up here there's a pipe, and if it goes up too high, it hits that pipe, and then it drips off down into your bladder?
I think it's like a pressure valve. So they put it into my spinal column, and then like as the pressure gets big, because that's what was happening, is I was getting like really bad headaches, and as the pressure gets big, it opens up the little release, and then it just pours out.
Fuck, dude, that's fucking amazing.
Yeah.
And it works? No more headaches?
No more. It was bad too. I mean, it was a couple of years of like my early 20s, so it was bad. So no, thank God, I'm good now.
Jean is Joe Rogan's instructor. Your instructor is Joe Rogan's instructor?
Yeah. I've never seen Joe Rogan there, but yeah.
Wow, small world. He moved, right? He moved to Texas.
Oh, Texas, yeah.
Will, why? First of all, how do you get all your guests?
Ask them on Instagram usually. I think it helps if I say like I'm a school teacher. That's like essentially I align with like there's a problems in education I'm trying to bring it, and not many classroom teachers are talking about the things I'm doing. I mean, it's very, very few for a bunch of reasons. I think a lot of them align with me, but they're scared for legitimate reasons to speak out. So that's probably the biggest thing. Is like I'm a school teacher. I'm not just some random white guy. I'm in the classroom trying to bring about critical thinking and stuff like that. So I think that's why. But I reach out to them just on Instagram, or if I find someone interesting from another podcast or on TV or something like that, I do a little research and I try to find them like on Google. Like there was a teacher here in Glendale. It's like a gay guy, like teacher of the year, 2-time teacher of the year, who was fired for basically saying that like, we shouldn't push a trans agenda on kids. So I'm trying to find him. Like I reached out to his lawyer, try to look him up on social media. Like I do that. Like that person's interesting. I reach out to him.
And you're doing, and how frequently is your podcast?
I'd say once a week.
And you do video also. It's video and audio.
Yeah. I did one yesterday with Chris Beck, was like the Navy SEAL, like 13 deployments, 7 combat deployments, Navy SEAL, and then became trans in 2013.
I've been trying to get him on for fucking 5 months. How the fuck did you do that?
Detransitioned in 2022. He's wild, man. He's talking about thermodynamics and like all this crazy stuff. Worked at the Pentagon, so they're like, he's like deep into the whole, like deep state stuff.
And you went to, and you got him through Instagram.
Yeah, I was persistent. But
because he has that automatic reply, I remember.
Yep. Yeah. So I connected. I think it was a school teacher thing, because then when we talked, he was saying like, thanks for what you're doing, because they homeschool their kids and they're like really against the school system. I think that's what it is. I think that people are concerned about the school system, and then they're seeing me who's like speaking out against it. And I think that's what aligns with people.
I hear that 87% of the teachers in the United States who teach our 49 million kids are in the public school system. 87% are liberal.
Oh yeah, I mean, yeah, at least, yeah, I would say so. I think there's probably some like older guys that are vets or in the science department or something like that aren't. But yeah, but it's also all the unions. The unions are directly connected to the Democratic Party, so you're paying union dues. Like that's if you look up the NEA, that's the biggest teachers union. You can look that up and look at where their donations went. It's 90% go to Democrats. So the NEA, I think, is a good kind of example of the way that this is funneling directly with the Democratic Party.
You say there are very few teachers like you. I'm going to guess I haven't seen one. Have you seen one?
Like on social media?
Yeah. Just anywhere, just a teacher who's openly like, hey, I don't think that there should be boys in the girls' bathroom.
Yeah, on Twitter.
Not even that you're saying that. Can we have
I'm not.
A teacher won't even say, can we have a discussion?
Yeah, that's
about boys.
There's some conservative teachers. Daniel Buck is one. He's on Twitter. He's like a conservative, so he's open. I'm not, actually. That's the thing. It's like I'm just asking questions. I'm not like, let's go Republicans. I'm just like, wait, hold on. They're both really messed up. Let's have some conversations about this. And I don't know too many others that are doing that as openly as me.
You not only had what was his name, Beck, on, but you had Chloe on.
Chloe Cole, yeah.
Look at this. This is like, she should be like everywhere. This should be like America's most popular guest. She should be on fucking every show. Like, well, why the fuck Jimmy Kimmel should have her on?
Well, she throws a wrench into a lot of the ideas, right? I mean, that was like one of my favorite I was like emotional during that. She's still a kid. She's the age I teach. She's maybe 18 or 19 now, but she's a kid, which is 18, 19 is still a kid. And she was just duped by this whole thing. And her parents were, I mean, it was a really, I feel for this girl, but she's strong and she's got a lot of support now. A lot of people like you are like, all right, Chloe, you're awesome. We got you, and so there's a lot of support that she has. And I hope that helps, because I don't know how she doesn't fall into a dark place knowing all the stuff that happened to her.
And she's cool. I just hope she doesn't get Greta Thunberg. Thunberg.
You know what? I said that in the podcast. Are you talking about like being manipulated by people who have their own agenda?
Yeah, like poor Greta. When you see her, you're like, fuck. Yes. What happened to you? I
said that to her because I don't know how your feelings are on like Matt Walsh. I'm not a big fan of it, like a lot of things that he does, even though I understand why he's doing it. I do, but
you mean just because of because he's angry, his vibe? You don't like his vibe?
Yeah.
I know that's
I'm a Christian, man. Like, I don't know. I think that he broadcasts that he's a Christian all the time, and then he goes after and makes fun of people the most harsh way that he can. And I think that if you're going to broadcast that you're a Christian, he says it a lot more than I do. And if you're going to broadcast that and then try and take cheap shots at people, I think that's a real problem for what I think is important, which is like, trying to get people to see the benefits of a Christian life. But like, that's a big issue for me, is like calling out the ugliness within those people. But yeah, I think she could be used as like a cudgel, like a political tool. And I said that to her. I was like, just be careful that people aren't using you for their own kind of personal political gain, some sort of like anti-gay, agenda, which could happen, like whatever it is. Like there's a line that we have to draw. Let's be clear on what it is.
Cudgel,
Right?
Cudgel, a short and thick stick used as a weapon.
Did I not say? I meant like yeah.
No,
like
you used it perfectly.
Did I?
Well, yeah. Well, you used it perfectly too as a cudgel. She could be used as a weapon to what she could be. That's Greta Thunberg's been weaponized. I think that's totally fair. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's
she won't.
Basically, you're not allowed to talk about climate change, or else they've lumped it in with flat earther, and yet there's absolutely zero predictive value in the models that they've put forward. I mean, it's fucking nuts. It's nuts.
Yeah, you can't just taking these. I mean, Chloe is too. Like you're taking these autistic kids and you're putting them on this massive like platform and just having them.
Chloe's got a little Asperger's in her. She got a little autism.
Chloe.
Yeah.
Yeah, she said that she was like late diagnosed, but she said she was diagnosed with having. Sorry.
Go on. Okay, you take these on the yeah.
I mean, these kids. Like I've taught kids with like Greta Thunberg or whoever. I've taught kids like that. Like they're so easily kind of like shifted because their mind works differently. Like you can kind of drive them in a certain direction, and then she's getting praised for really not saying anything. She doesn't say anything. I've been trying to. I don't think I'm gonna get him, but like I tried to get Boyan Slot. You know about that guy, that kid?
No, but I'm sure he's awesome. You're fucking.
Oh, he's awesome. So he's 16 years old. He went snorkeling as a European kid, like a Scandinavian kid. But Boyan Slot, he was swimming like snorkeling in the ocean, saw more plastic than fish, and he's like, he's 16 years old. He's like, I'm gonna clean up the oceans, and he did. He's doing the biggest ocean cleanup. He pulls out thousands and thousands of pounds of plastic from the oceans every single day and then melts them down and makes cool sunglasses. Like he's amazing. And he's actually cleaning up the environment, but no one knows who Boyan Slot is. Everyone knows who Greta Thunberg is. Like he's just out there doing the work. It's like that thing where like someone's standing there with a sign that says, don't litter. And they're knee deep in litter. And then someone else is out there with one of those spikes cleaning up the litter.
Yeah.
And they're getting critiqued. It's like, where's your sign? Where's your sign? How come you're not talking about don't litter? It's like, no, I'm too busy cleaning it up. And I think that's a big problem. What's going on here?
Yeah, this dude's cool.
Yeah, he's cool.
But I bet you he's woke as fuck. Sorry, I just had to throw that. I bet
he might be.
Yeah,
he might be, but he's doing work.
Yeah, good. Okay.
Yeah,
shit. Founder and CEO. Yeah, good one.
Yeah, he's cool.
After you have him on, I'm gonna start bugging him.
That's right.
Look, follow. Bam, done. At least he doesn't. At least he's not wearing a mask in his post. Hey, give me something that the Republicans are. Sorry to put you on the spot. Not sorry. Give me something that the Republicans are doing that's batshit crazy. Like I can give you 10 things I think that the Democrats are doing that are batshit crazy. Can you give me something that they're doing that's just like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I think that there's blindness in general to like the moves that they're doing that are very similar to the moves that it's just the general hypocrisy. But like within my real world of education, just to get more specific, would be in Florida when they're part of what the law was to ban critical race theory. And I've spoken out on critical race theory. I was on Glenn Beck and Black News Tonight talking about critical race theory. Part of what they're doing is there was language in the policy that if a child is offended by what's being taught, that it needs to go up for a review. And that's like snowflake stuff.
Yeah, that's woke shit. That's woke shit. That word that you're right. So, okay. Yeah.
So that's one where I'm less like, no, you can't do that because there's going to be little, Brad or whatever little white kid who's going to be like, well, they said that white people did bad stuff or whatever it is. It's like, well, yeah, kids are going to be overly sensitive and they're going to try and weaponize that. So that's one that I would say I'm not a fan of.
So to sort of take the it's basically what you started, what we talked about early in the show. Some people are offended by what you do. And then their kids don't even go to your school. They don't know you, but then they send a letter to your fucking school to try to get you fired. It's like the worst. It's fucking disgusting. It's like the root. And that's basically what that's doing in that law. Instead of, they're basically allowing people to say it's enough to be offended in order to raise your hand and put it and make stop the bus. And we have to be like, okay, I'm offended.
Yeah, like what I would advocate for more is like a conversation. Like if you want to bring in Ibram X. Kendi into, professional development, all right, well then also bring in James Lindsay, or also bring in, John McWhorter. Like let's have this out. Let's have an out of these ideas and let's figure this out. That's what I'm always advocating for. Is not like I'm not cancel culture, but let's bring it more in. Let's bring more perspectives in, and let's get really to it. Because I think the best ideas will survive, but we're not having this free exchange of back and forth and like a gladiator arena of ideas. We're not. That's why I'm anti echo chamber. Is I think that what we're gonna get to is just our own set of news and information and facts and everything like that, as opposed to like what's actually going on. So I like just bringing it all in and let's see what happens. But you can't like. So during the summer of 2020, whatever you want to call that, the George Floyd summer, a bunch of teachers were all over the internet saying elevate Black voices and project Black voices and stuff, and they were all like hardcore left Black voices. And I asked several of them, like, why are you not mentioning any conservative Black voices? And one
zero.
Yeah. A very prominent teacher who on like social media, who has the biggest teacher podcast and stuff, was like, well, are they saying anything different? I was like, John McWhorter said that anti-racism is worse than racism. Yeah. Not only is that different, it's the opposite.
Anti-racism is just word fuckery.
Yeah. It's like Daryl Davis is an anti-racist. You know that guy?
If I see him, is he the Harvard guy with the dreadlocks?
No. Daryl Davis is the musician who befriended people in the KKK and got them to give up their robes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he's amazing. Like that's an anti-racist. Like he actually stops racists from existing because he befriends them. Ibram X. Kendi doesn't stop racism, drives it underground. He just turns it around and makes it okay to be racist against these people instead of those people. That's the way I see it. I think it's like neo-racism, but
it's not math. It's not the way you see it. It's the way it is. Another example would be I used to be for affirmative action, right? I was in college and I would protest there was a Black guy who was sat on the UC Regents for University of California, and he was against affirmative action, and he was a Black guy, right? Yeah. And he would come to our school and fucking everyone would protest against him, all the fucking white kids, right?
Not get curious, right?
And now I have to look at, what does affirmative action mean? Affirmative action means that there's 10 spots to get into college. And instead of giving them to the 10 people based on this criteria of passing these tests, we're going to give them based on skin color. And so that means that affirmative action means less white kids and less Asian kids are going to get in, so that we can help out more people who do better at living at the equator, melanated skin. And it's like, they never tell you that part. And that's why they use the word affirmative action. It's really racism to fight racism.
Yeah. It's like, it's a sloppy.
It's not my opinion.
Yeah.
I don't think of any. My opinion is that you're having a good hair day.
Right.
But the facts are that Will has hair. Right. I mean, now. It's like, for now. Is your dad bald?
Yeah. I'm doing okay though.
Yeah, you look good. It doesn't it's not getting crazy yet.
Thanks, man.
And so that's the part I'm struggling with on how you are staying. I think, like, I have Seth Gruber on. Do you know who that is? You had Peter Boghossian on. I'm fucking Armenian. Sorry, I'm shifting gears. You had Peter Boghossian on. I've contacted him 20 times and he keeps saying not yet. I'm fucking Armenian. And you went on Will Reusch's podcast? You dickhead. I love you, Peter.
I'm Turkish. No, I'm not. But
but you know your history.
Yeah. No, Boghossian's great. Again, I think that was because I was a school teacher speaking out, and that I was like I love the hoax papers. I teach them in my class. I teach about the Boghossian hoax papers, so that's probably why. But yeah, no, I'm with you on affirmative action. I see it. Ibram X. Kendi actually tweeted something about this, where he's like, kids are pretending to be Black in order to get into college, like blah blah. And then he
I would totally do that. I would totally do that.
Yeah. Well, my students do not, they don't pretend, but like if they're mixed race, they're going to say that they're one thing over the other, because it's actually out like what the average SAT scores are for like a white kid getting into Harvard, Hispanic kid, a black kid, an Asian kid. It's like, it's very clear. And then they did that whole thing. There was that lawsuit against Asian kids at Harvard because they were penalized. Like they weren't getting in, even though they were clearly had the best grades and stuff like that, because they said, if we just took it based on merit, then the school would be almost all Asian. And I guess that's a problem. So,
hey, Asians make basically twice as much on average than white people.
Yeah, and it also comes down to like,
dear black people, please attack the Asians and leave us alone. Thank you.
It comes down to like what kind of Asian too. Like that's the thing is like I married a Filipino. The Filipinos are not the same as the Koreans, and like Japanese, Chinese. There's like a culture of education that's actually very similar to like the Jewish culture that I teach in. But then if you look at like Laotian,
the Filipinos are lower on the totem pole.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, sorry, honey. Yeah, I figured. And who's kicking that? And it's like I guess it's the same with it's the same with black skinned people too. Like fuck, who Nigerians are murdering.
Nigerians, exactly.
They're fucking destroying it here. Yeah.
Right. They're outperforming their white counterparts. So that's why these categories, there is like obviously a cultural difference. Thomas Sowell, like there's obviously a huge cultural difference that you just can't bring up. And I just want to bring it up. I just want to be like, wait, isn't this a problem? Like this is
you mean skin color doesn't really matter and it's all cultural?
It puts a hole in it. I mean, I think there probably is. I had Ian Rowe on my podcast. He's like, he was denied speaking. He went to Harvard Business School and he was denied a speaking gig for Nicole Hannah-Jones. And they said, well, yeah, you're black, but you're West Indian. Like his parents are Jamaican, and that's not the same. And he's like, look, if you're saying that that black people are being discriminated against by cops and stuff, like you think a cop's going to look at me, start harassing me and go, wait a second, your parents are from Jamaica?
Right.
Oh,
right.
Okay. Never mind. Like it's all good. Like, which one is it? It's a very disjointed ideology.
Look, I know you're a school teacher. Don't make fun of me. Don't judge me for this. You ready? I looked up Ian Rome. Look at my spelling's just horrible. Look at me.
R-O-W-E.
Oh, stop. R-O-W-E.
I don't think he has an Instagram.
Oh, I don't think. Well, here now he does. It's this white guy. He's a traffic electrician, auxiliary police officer, Canadian music advocate. Music advocate. I just want to know what your pronouns are.
What are his pronouns? He didn't put them.
This dude, listen. You don't have an RV in your fucking in one of your pics and your pronouns. So I have this guy on Will who Seth Gruber, and he's made it his dedication in life to stop kids from being murdered in the womb. And I'm pro-choice.
Okay.
And he's pro-life.
Yeah.
But part of me part of me thinks I'm just lying because I'm just so. Part of me thinks I really am pro-life, and I might actually be a Republican. And when I see the shit you're doing, I'm like, maybe Will and I we're kind of we're stuck. We want to be open. I can't tell maybe if it's just like, I'm just dedicated to the 49ers and no matter what, I can't ever be a Raider fan. Do you know what I'm saying? Like I have him on and I'm telling him I'm pro-choice and this guy's made his life-saving babies and I'm like, fuck, what a stud. I just love him.
Yeah.
And like, I don't want to take away women's rights over their bodies because of the precedent it sets. But like, dude, like I know it's killing babies. I know it is.
Yeah.
So I'm fucked up. I'm all. See, look it. See, here's Heidi. Here comes the peanut gallery. I knew that can't you guys just let Will and I have a moment, go get a glass of water or something? Sevan, you're not pro-choice. Fine.
That's a tough one.
Sevan, just admit to yourself. We will accept you with open arms. I am fine.
Would you still consider yourself a Democrat?
No.
No.
And the reason why is because I think that at its core, my understanding now of the ideology and the way it works is that they are profoundly hateful and racist, and that there's a eugenics component in its history. And God, this one's really hard for me to say. I think that there's a pedophilia maybe component, not maybe. Something's even though I'm sort of dogmatic in my spirituality. While I play this game on planet Earth, I want to protect children at all costs.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
I do.
So I'm just, and I wouldn't give a fuck if I didn't have kids. Tell you the truth, Will. I probably wouldn't give a fuck. I'd be like, bring the Armageddon on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like, I want my boys to have like cool girlfriends and like chicks that want to raise their kids and like,
Yeah.
and believe in that. Like a dude with a strong chick is dope. You could fucking take on the world.
Yeah.
If a chick got your back.
Yeah, 100%.
And I don't want a chick who's like trying to feminize my boy. Like, here's another thing too, like, because of CrossFit, like, every human being should know what it's like to walk out onto a track and run as hard as they can for 400 meters.
Mm-hmm. It's
fucking crazy. And yet there's for some reason that's being poo-pooed. Like, everyone should know at one point what it's like to wrestle.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah. Physical fitness is like looked down upon as something like right wing. There's all this like crazies.
So do you think that are you going through any of that like me? I mean, I don't lose sleep over it, but I don't want to be a fraud either. I don't want to be insincere. Like, why can't I just say I'm pro-life? But I can't. I just can't.
I don't know. I mean, I am.
Or what are you? Are you pro-choice or are you pro-life?
I'm mixed on it as well. Here's the reason why.
Oh, yes.
Well, it's tricky.
Yes.
It's pitting liberty against life, and I've had 4 podcasts on it. The
what
problem
did you say?
that I have
it's paying what? It's paying
liberty against life. So it's the woman's liberty against the baby's life. And what happens? The pro-choice people are all focused on the liberty, and the pro-life people are all focused on the life. But America is life and liberty.
Why don't they just admit that it's killing a baby though? That's the part. Like, at least I can admit that. I can be like, hey, it's killing a baby, but I also want the liberty for women. But they're like calling it like
clump of cells.
Yeah, or they're saying like, really, it's just, but I want to be a lawyer. Well, then you're okay with child sacrifice. Just admit it. You're okay with killing the baby in your womb so that you could go to law school.
I've had 2 like abortion, one Bronte Remnick who showed, and then I also had abortion doctor on. It's like one of my early podcasts, and both of them kind of got to the point where they admit that it's at least not ideal. Like they admit that it is terminating a pregnancy, it's terminating a life. Like, you really break it down, they will, but it's just the liberty of the woman supersedes that because of, they're autonomous, they're conscious, the baby's not, things like that. My biggest concern about banning abortion is the same concern I have with prohibition of anything, is it won't stop it. And that's my biggest, like, I like free will. I like helping, like, as a school teacher, like, I don't want to force you to not cheat. So it's not like put up these barricades and blind your eyes so you don't look your neighbor's paper. I want you to want to not cheat, which is harder. The goal.
That's how I feel about steroids. I don't want you to have to lie.
Yeah.
I hate the fact that we exalt athletes and then punish them for using steroids. Like, I don't know what the answer is, but I feel bad for them that they have to lie. Same thing with the abortion. They never talk about the women who have abortions are damaged for the rest of their lives, I think.
Some of them are. I don't know the stats.
In my mind, that there's 2 kinds. There's ones who know that they're damaged, and there's ones that are in denial, and they're also damaged. I don't think you have an abortion, and then by that I mean it stays with you your whole life. It's a thought.
Yeah.
You pick when you kill a baby, you pick something up.
Yeah.
That you can never put down, like nicotine. That's why nicotine's horrible. You pick it up and you'll never put it down.
Yeah.
You kill a baby and now you got something. Go to bed at night. You're like, oh yeah,
you can ignore it.
Yeah,
you can shut it down or repress it, but yeah, it's there somewhere. I think so.
It's there. Yeah.
But ideal, I think, would be you have the option to do tremendous harm and evil in the world, and you choose not to. And that's one of the reasons, and maybe that's ignorant, but like that's I think one of the bigger reasons why I would lean towards keeping it up to the states to decide. And if a certain state wants to have abortion, I don't think it's good, but I think that's probably aligned with the Constitution more so. I don't know, and then let people make that call. But we need to support young moms and stuff like that, people who feel lost, they have no one to help them raise this kid, is we also have to do that. And that's an issue that I think the political right needs to get better at, is real support for these these pregnant girls who feel like they have nowhere to go. There are organizations, 100%, but those organizations are not in the neighborhoods where a lot of these pregnancies are happening. I got taught in those neighborhoods, and the kids were really, these 15-year-old girls get pregnant, they're lost, they don't know what to do. It's like you got to be there for them to walk them through it. And as a friend, you say like, you're pregnant, we're gonna raise this kid together, I got you, you're not on your own, because they're so scared that they feel ill-equipped to raise this thing, so they have an abortion. So you can't just ban it. If you're going to ban it, you got to give support to fill it in. It's like banning drugs. If you're going to legalize drugs, then you got to support people. If you're going to ban drugs, you got to support people through their addiction. And I think that it's just like a hard line of just making abortions illegal. I don't know if that's going to solve the root problem.
And what is the root problem?
I think a big one is the normalcy of casual sex. And this makes me seem like a real old, like fart, like a conservative, I guess. But like, I don't know. I didn't wait till marriage to have sex, and I didn't think about it. I was just like, as soon as I can have sex, I'm going to have sex. Why would I not?
Right.
A girl's willing to hook up with me, of course I'm going to do it. And not thinking about the real repercussions of that. I mean, you have kids, you have sons, right? I mean, do you want them to just go out and just hook up with random girls? Like, wouldn't it be better? It'd be better to have them meet someone that they love, whether or not they get married, like someone that they love. And they're like, hey, if we would have a baby in this, like, all right, it's made through love and I'm going to do the right thing. Like, that's the ideal. And I like aiming for the ideal. And I think that the fact that kids are watching Friends still, high school kids watch like Friends from the 90s, but Joey goes on a date and hooks up with someone. Then, Monica has 2 dates and it's time to have sex. It's this thing of just like, it's fine to have sex with anybody. Don't worry about it. I don't think that that's the way that we're built. We're built to have sex for continuing on your genes and your, that whole thing. So I think that there's the cultural element of like, you should maybe have sex with people that you love, that you feel a deep connection with, and not just I think it's the casual hookup culture is a big problem with it. But that makes you sound really old.
Going back to the boy thing, I think boys need to be kept busy.
Yeah.
Like very, very busy. I think if you see groups of boys not doing anything, that's the downfall of civilization. You do not. The last thing you want to see is a group of 18-year-old boys standing on a street corner in your city. If they could be the nicest boys in the world, you never want to see that.
Yeah. No, 100%. I would always, when I was teaching public school, like I taught in a really bad area of East LA, and I would get there 2 hours early and then get say 2 hours late. I would like take them to the gym. I'd lift with them. Do like guy stuff. I teach them how to box and stuff like that, just because they wanted something. They didn't want to be on the streets, really. These are like gangster kids, but they were just like, we have nowhere to go. So I was like, all right, well, I'll give you somewhere to go. And then they were at the gym instead of on the streets. It was really good. There just wasn't enough. There weren't enough boys and girls clubs and stuff like that in those areas that the kids were able to go to.
Mason Mitchell, I think he's being sarcastic or facetious. I want the poor, uneducated 16-year-old girl to have 3 kids with no support, anything but abortion. See, I can't even handle the wording of that, though, Mason.
I had a 17-year-old student at that school in East LA. 17-year-old student. She was pregnant with her 3rd kid.
Wow.
And I had the bathroom pass to like go to the bathroom. Hey, she had the bathroom pass. Hey, mister, can you sign my bathroom pass? And I was like, oh, you got to write the time on there. And she's like, what time is it? And I pointed to the clock. It was like an analog clock. And she goes, I can't read that shit.
Oh,
like what? I thought of the Chris Rock joke. It's like get out of here before your kid robs me in 15 years. Like that's.
Hey, do you know if it was 3? Was it the same? Was it 3 separate dads?
I think it was actually the same dad.
Oh, that's cool.
He was in 11th grade.
Shit.
Oh no, he was a senior. She was 11th grade or something like that. He was at the school too. Yeah. I don't know who was watching the kids. But
I had the same girlfriend.
That one was the same dad.
I had the same girlfriend sophomore, junior, senior year, and within a year she said I could have sex with her, but I still waited another 2 years.
Why?
I was just happy like touching her tits and rubbing on her and shit.
Why did you wait?
No reason. Just like I just thought it was too much work. Like what? Like if like I was cool with just a handy or dry humping or just whatever. Like it was cool. And then but it's 3 years. And I loved her to death. She was great. And you want to know the only reason why I ended up having sex? Be completely honest. No one's listening again. Let me see the numbers. Yep, everyone is on a bathroom break. I thought I was going to graduate from high school a virgin, and I was like, you know what? I should do this. Not that I had any like peer pressure. Like I didn't care if like some kid said it. I was like, I better do this. And then once I had sex once, Will, it was like a fucking downpour.
Yeah.
It was like 10 years of pussy just fell on me. Like someone opened a gate and it just like.
They could smell it on your hang low.
Will, I need you for more time, but we've run out of time. What is the end? For two things. Or did you have fun?
Yeah. I didn't know what I was stepping into, man. Yeah, you're this is very different than a lot. I go on a lot of podcasts that are super dry. So no, this was great. Thank you. This wasn't boring at all.
Okay, good. And how much longer are you going to do your podcast? Is there a goal? Like what is there a goal? I'm guessing you kind of need to keep teaching just for the street cred and for the stories and the information, but that you also probably want to step away so you can take more full-time care of your kids and do more media.
Yeah, I love it. I really do. Like,
you mean just the balance of your life? You're loving your life.
I love my life. Yeah, I've been very, very blessed. But like, I love being in the classroom. Like, okay. My seniors just graduated, and it's like at the end of the year, like I bring my wife to like they do this like senior celebration night, and like bring my wife just because she's kind of like more on the side of like, you know, you should have a bigger impact, you know, scale what you're doing, whatever it is, which I hear and I appreciate that, and I'm doing it. But like when a kid who you've had like a relationship with, like you know them, you've known them since 10th grade, you know their ups and downs, their parents are going through a divorce and they were crying, you know, talk to them. Like I'm really close with my students. I have a lunch with a different student every day. So like I get to know these kids and I like really connect with them. And I can't do that on the same level through my social media and podcasting and stuff. So it's not, there is an element of like, yeah, then I still like the street cred of being a classroom teacher, but I really, really enjoy it. I'm gonna keep doing the podcast and
you're
stuff.
A relationship person. You like human relationships. Yeah, cool.
Yeah, like an Enneagram 4, that Enneagram test. Yeah, so I'm gonna keep doing the podcast and stuff because the hope that I'm working on right now, what I'm doing is trying to make homeschool curriculum that's like along the lines of like the stuff that I do in the classroom and trying to scale it. And open it up so I have like group meetings with like kids from across the country. That's what I'm trying to do, and I'll use my podcast and stuff to still bring more attention to what I'm trying to do in education. I'm trying to fix the education system because it's just broken on all levels. So yeah, I think that's a way. It's like keep myself, you know, so I show up on people like you on your radar, and then you can bring me in and talk about stuff. Like I think that there's a real power in having a social media presence now. If someone screws me over, if I take my car in to go get oil at this Jiffy Lube on this corner of the street and they screw me over, then I can be like, don't go to the Jiffy Lube. And like, there's some power in that. There's some power in that. And then if there's something crazy that goes on with my school and they change their mind, they get rid of me for a really bad reason, or someone does something really terrible, I can bring them on. I can bring them on my podcast. You know, there's so many people that are doing amazing things, and I'm like, more people need to know about what you're doing. I'll contribute in the little way that I can. So I think that there's real value in building that presence on these social media channels.
Well, Alyssa, what's the name of his podcast? There's no reason to know the name of Will Reusch's Cylinder Radio. All your time should be here at the Sevan Podcast. Do not go to Cylinder Radio. Put your head back, Will. Put your head back. Will, a final question. This one's the biggest putting you on the spot. You didn't share your phone number with me. You're very guarded. Now that you've been on the show, are you going to share your phone number with me? In the email, I had said you could text me.
Oh, I didn't see it. Oh, yeah, man. I'll give you my phone number. All right. I don't share it right here, right now, but I'll email you right now. Of course, man.
You the band, dude. Thank you. I know our paths are going to cross again. I loved having you on. You're a great dude. What a great resource. I'm glad to have met you.
Thank you very much, man. No, it was great to meet you too. Yeah, we'll do this again. This was fun.
All right, brother.
All right.
Ciao.
Take care.
Will Reusch, Ben Bergeron. God, I love this show. Ugh. I love this show. I love this show. I have to go. I'm going. I'm going. Dear Sevan, this is God. Your podcast is dope. I love you. Bye-bye.